I'm here. My name is Mrs. Judd, Assistant Principal. This is a very important day for all of you. All of you will learn a technique today, a life-saving technique that at some point in your lives you might have to use to save a person's life. So it's really important that every single one of you today are on point and on task and listen carefully. We're really fortunate to have a friend in the community. Her name is Debbie. Debbie is a nurse at Las Robles Hospital, and she's partnered up with, there she is. Wow, Debbie. She is fantastic. This is our third year doing this. The school board of Education, a few years ago said, you know what, every single 9th grader and every single 12th grader on all of our campuses is going to be trained in CPR. So we've partnered up with Debbie for the last 3 years to make this happen. We're really fortunate, really lucky to have her here, along with all of her amazing volunteers who have dedicated their day to be here with you and train you. So please give them a nice Westlake Warrior welcome.
So as she said, my name is Debbie Licht and I work in the ER at Las Robles Hospital. I've been there for over 13 years. I worked at Cedars before that. And I really consider this probably the most important part of my job, even though it's kind of a volunteer part of my job. Like all of us that are here, we're doing this because we have a passion, and what we want to show you, we feel truly does make a huge difference. I know that you'll see after what we present to you, you'll feel the same way. This is the largest group we've ever done in 1 hour, so we truly need your help to kind of keep it in order so that we can accomplish what we want to do. So I have a lot of volunteer and help from a lot of different agencies, and this is one of the very wonderful things about this reaching the community with CPR, especially it should be a life skill for everybody, is that we have AMR, paramedics, EMTs, we have Medical Reserve Corps who have a lot of energy. And that's a volunteer organization of people that are medical people, that are retired physicians, different kinds of physicians, and they help in time, they train, and they will help in time of a disaster. If we have an earthquake or anything like that, they would come in even to the hospitals and help us if it's beyond what we're able to handle ourselves. We have EMS agency, which is they handle all pre-hospital emergency medical services. We have Physicians Assistant School Club from Canyon of the Hills, Canyon of the College of Canyons. I have another nurse from Las Robles back there. And we have a great group of people that are dispatchers who work they are actually receive your 911 calls, and they are here to share too. So, dispatchers. So, I want to start this presentation with a video, so please pay attention and we'll start it.
Paramedics, what is the address of your emergency? Is that a house or an apartment?
A house, correct.
Tell me exactly what happened.
Right now, my friend, he's sleeping. I don't know if he's sleeping or not. We tried to wake him up. I slapped him. He keeps breathing out all of his air and then not being able to breathe in. He's like struggling.
Okay, are you with him right now?
Yeah.
How old is he?
How old is he? He's 32.
Is he awake?
I don't think he's awake. I think he's unconscious.
Okay, is he breathing?
Is he breathing? He's barely breathing.
Barely breathing?
Yeah.
Okay, help us start started. I have a couple questions for you, okay?
Okay.
Are you with him right now?
Yeah, we're with him right now.
Hey, if he's in, we're going to charge $200.
Put your ear next to his mouth and let me know if you can feel or hear me breathing.
Everyone clear?
No.
No. Okay.
You might have to do CPR.
Resume compressions.
Hi, I'm Ryan Seavey, and on December 30th, 2012, my heart suddenly stopped, and I was clinically dead for 40 minutes. If it wasn't for CPR, I wouldn't be here today.
Early CPR is a vital link in the chain of care a cardiac arrest patient needs prior to reaching the hospital. Seeing Ryan now with his family and friends is very rewarding. I believe as more people learn hands-only CPR, we'll see many more cases, successful cases, just like Ryan.
I'm living proof that CPR saves lives. CPR can save your life or the life of someone you love. And now with sidewalk CPR, it's easier to do. Sidewalk CPR doesn't involve pulling air into the victim's mouth, just the correct application of chest compression. I want to encourage you to be a part of the team and learn how simple it really is to save a life. Learn sidewalk CPR. And remember, if you are nearby and someone suffers sudden cardiac arrest, you can help. Don't hesitate. Call 911 and follow the directions of the dispatcher.
Well, good morning. So that was me in the video you just saw, and we're coming up on this is going to be almost 4 years in 2 weeks that happened to me. It was just a regular Sunday for me. I didn't have any previous cardiac history in my life. Actually, I had just been training the night before this, and then this happened to me right here, about 11 in the morning. And the guy that you saw in the video, he was actually on that 911 call. That was the real call right there that you just heard. And his car had broken down, a friend of mine, and he needed a ride. So he let himself into my house, knew that I was asleep, and was actually playing Xbox. And suddenly heard me start breathing weird. And then that's when he walked over. And he'd never been trained in CPR or anything, and he tried to wake me up, and just let out all my breath and laid there. At that point, I was clinically dead. And so I was down for somewhere between 40 and 45 minutes before my heart started up again. It was en route to the hospital that happened. And then I was in an induced coma for a couple days, and then I was released from the hospital about 8 days later with a defibrillator pacemaker, and doctors looking at me telling me they don't really know why this happened to me. They couldn't quite figure it out. It's still happening today. So here I am almost 4 years later, and I get out here and I teach CPR because the person that did CPR on me had just learned how to do it within a month of this happening to me. They had no idea that they were going to be doing CPR on me, right? I'm very passionate about it, and I've had a chance to now be a part of 3 different save situations where I was doing CPR on someone. The first time I was doing CPR, after this happened to me, it was just kind of a weird, trippy feeling, like, whoa, that's what you need, you know? And that person walked out of the hospital, and I'm grateful for it. So I'm happy that you guys can be here and learn how to do this today. My hope is that you never have to, but that what we teach you today, it goes up here. So in case you are in a situation, you can help out someone, and you don't just panic, but you can actually do something for them, and hopefully help them survive. So pay attention, and I'm going to have another survivor come on up here. This is my friend Leslie, and she's going to share with you what happened to her.
Thanks, Ryan. Good morning, everyone. My name is Leslie Ziegler, and I'm a mom of a 12th grader at another high school here in the Valley, and I too, like Ryan, I'm a cardiac arrest survivor. My cardiac arrest occurred 3.5 years ago on a Saturday afternoon. My husband and I were out in Camarillo with our son, who's a track runner and a cross-country runner. He had a meet out there. We came home from our house, from the meet, and went home to have lunch. Sat down to watch a movie that afternoon, and my heart went into a tachycardia rhythm, and I could not breathe. It was the weirdest thing in my life that had ever happened. I remember vividly sitting on the couch and not being able to breathe. I remember saying, "Help me, I can't breathe." That's the last thing I remember. I was so fortunate to have my husband and son with me. Most people who have cardiac arrest aren't in that situation. So my son had the wherewithal to call 911. My husband got on the phone and the 911 operators, you'll hear some of them today, walked him through doing CPR that he had never done in his life. Very traumatic experience to see your parent and your loved one go through that. So what you guys are going to learn today is something that you can perhaps apply in future times, and I really hope that you're able to pay attention and listen to that today. Most people who go through cardiac arrest are at home. That's happened to me, and I just wanted to say they didn't know what happened to me, and I have a defibrillator. They put a defibrillator in my body because they didn't know why I went into cardiac arrest. So that defibrillator has gone off 3 times. Since my initial cardiac arrest, it has saved my life 3 times. I was alone all 3 times that happened. So basically what happened to me was, they think it's a dehydration situation, which you guys can all relate to, being athletes, students running around. Make sure you use your electrolytes. I'm so grateful today to be here, to be part of my son's life, where it could have happened that instead of being ready to graduate with his mom and dad at his side, he'd be having a dad and a mom who the mom would be dead. So I'm so grateful to be here today, you guys. So please pay attention. If you take one thing out of high school, learn how to save a life. You can do it. You can do it. And thank you, Debbie. So I'm going to introduce Tanya. Tanya is the mom of a Westlake High grad here and a current Westlake High student, and she will tell you her story as well.
My son is a senior here. He's Carson Arnett, and my daughter is Jordan. She graduated 2 years ago. Their story is similar to the 2 you just heard. It was a Sunday afternoon. Jordan was watching a movie with her dad. Dad, I'll be right back. She goes upstairs. She does some homework. She heard a funny noise. She goes back down, and he's sitting in the chair. He's out, and she knew something was wrong. Grabbed the phone. She used the landline. Dialed 911, and on the 4th question, they got it, and they knew it was a cardiac arrest. So she had to pull him from the chair to the floor, get around with the mannequins, and put her hands on his chest and start pumping and hard and fast. That was the only direction she had. She'd never done CPR before, and since then, we've all learned it very well. He made 100% recovery. He's fine. He's living proof that CPR works. So pay attention. You guys are off. Is it freshmen or seniors? Are you guys freshmen? I'll leave out seniors. Good luck with college, and freshmen. We're my next day.
Hi everyone, my name is Haley McLean. I'm 18, the average teenager, still in high school, senior. But there's something about me that's probably different from all of you. When I was 12 years old on May 10th, 2011, I had a cardiac arrest. I was at my middle school, Sequoia. Some of you might have heard of the story. I was running down the hill to go to my PE class, and I tripped, and I got up for a second, and then I fell back down, and I didn't get up. I was having a cardiac arrest. Luckily, the PE teachers, they teach CPR, and one of them came over and started doing CPR on me, and along with the assistant principal and the principal, they came in and assisted me. And from there, I was sent to Los Robles Hospital, and from Los Robles, I was sent to UCLA. And that's when I was diagnosed with a very rare heart condition called CPVT. And it's a very long word to say, so the short term of it is it's a ventricular tachycardia, where I have irregular heart rhythms and they're faster than normal. So because of that, I have to get an implant, so I have a defibrillator / pacemaker there. And from that day, that's why I'm here right now teaching CPR for all of you out there, because it's really important for at our age and younger to know, because it can happen to anyone like me. It can even happen more younger to a lot of kids too. So I want to spread awareness about how important CPR is to us teens and all of us just around. So thank you.
And at the break, before we came in, one of the students, who's a physician in school to be a physician's assistant, came up to me and shared with me, with all of us, her story. She's actually a cardiac arrest survivor with a little bit of a different story. So I thought it would be neat for her to share, because it also is what's influenced her to be doing what she's doing. This is Taya.
Hi, my name is Taya Lemke. I was born with a heart condition called tetralogy of flow. I was 36 weeks, so I was a preemie. When I was born, I had 2 holes in my heart, and I was instantly known as a blue baby, which is where I wasn't breathing. So they right away did CPR on me, they resuscitated me, and they transferred me to UCLA Hospital, and this is when I learned, or my parents learned, that I had this. And then at 1 week old, I had my very first open heart surgery, and pretty much throughout my life, I've had a normal life. Pretty much the valve that prevents blood from going backwards into your right ventricle, it was defective. So I pretty much had a heart murmur throughout my life. And then a year ago tomorrow, will be a year since I had my second open heart surgery. Last year I found out that my right ventricle had tripled in size because I didn't have that valve, so I had to get the valve right away. I've been very fortunate. Some people with tetralogy of flow don't even make it to 5 years old, and I'm 18 now and still alive. CPR saved my life. Thankfully, there were doctors, and I was in a hospital, so there was help. And so I encourage that everybody learns this. The feeling of saving someone's life, it's worth every minute to learn CPR, and honestly, you'd be amazed, and I'm very grateful that I'm alive today because of it. So, thank you.
Yeah, there you have it. 80% of cardiac arrests do happen in the home. And why this is kind of an important time is that the holidays are coming up, and we see a lot. I work in the ER, so I know this is true, that when, for some reason, holiday seasons, we seem to see a lot of heart attacks and cardiac arrest. There is a difference between a heart attack and a cardiac arrest. Cardiac arrest basically means your heart stops and you go down. A heart attack is when some vessels within your heart are getting clogged by plaque or something, and that can go into a cardiac arrest, but a heart attack is many times leading up to a cardiac arrest if it's not taken care of. That's why we tell people, if you have chest pain, call 911. So, what now we're going to do is we're going to show you, well, first of all, I think I'm going to have our dispatcher come up and talk to you about what happens when you call 911. How many of you ever had to call 911 for any reason? Great. So when you do call, they're going to ask you what's your emergency, and they're going to decide what kind of help you need. So anyway, Mike?
I haven't said anything yet. Okay, my name is Michael Dickerson. I'm a supervisor with the Ventura County Fire Communications Center. As of September, we are the only fire EMS communications dispatch center in Ventura County. We took over Oxnard Fire dispatching, which made us a complete regional center. I've been there for a little over 18 years now, and I've been a supervisor for 12, and I've been 30 years in the fire service altogether. I've seen CPR done in a lot of different circumstances, but what we're teaching you today is a little bit different from what I got taught when I started 30 years ago. Actually, it's quite a bit different. First of all, for those of you who called 911, you have an idea what questions you're going to get asked. But even that's been simplified down to a basic 3-step process. If you call 911, we're going to ask you what the address is of the emergency, what the phone number is you're calling from, and that's in case we get disconnected, we can call you back. And what's the problem? Tell us exactly what's happening. At that point, once we've got your address, your phone number, and a problem, we're sending fire and an ambulance to you right now. We're not asking any more questions until we get that far. Because the best care you're going to get is when you get the ambulance and the firemen to you. When you call 911 from your house, we get your address and phone number, but we're going to confirm that with you. If you call 911 from your cell phone, and you have a newer generation phone, an iPhone, Android, or even a flip phone in the last 5 years or so, they all have a GPS chip in them that'll tell us where you're at within a range of distance. If you're outside in an open field, we'll know where you're at. If you're on a football field, I can tell you what yard line you're standing on. It's very, very accurate. The accuracy goes down inside a building. If I call 911 in here, it will know that I'm in the building somewhere, but I wouldn't know which room I'm in. It would just basically tag the building. So it's very, very important for you to know where you're at. The seniors in the room that are going off to college are going to be in a strange land that you've probably never seen before, or only been there to tour and visit the campus. Learn your surroundings. Know where you're at, know the street names, know your dorm name, know your campus, know the town around the campus. As you go out and drive, pay attention to where you're at. Start learning the area. For the freshmen that are learning to drive and getting their cars and starting to drive back and forth, you're going to school, you're going to theater, you're going to the store, you're going to Del Taco, or you're going wherever you're going. Start getting in the habit of knowing what street you're on, what's the next cross street, all those things. With that kind of information, we could get you help. There's nothing more frustrating for a dispatcher than for you to call 911 and not be able to tell us where you're at. We know you need help, you know you need help, we just don't know where to send it. And it'll take a long time to get that information by a process of elimination. What business are you in, Fred? What city are you in? What street were you last on that you remember? Things like that. And CPR, what we're showing you today, is a matter of minutes for it to be effective. If it takes too long for us to get you help, or too long to get you started on this, it's going to have a bad effect, a bad outcome for the whole thing. Know where you're at. Lastly, just within the last year, our protocols have changed for all of this. We used to go through about a 3-minute process of getting you started on CPR. We'd have to find out, were they breathing, what's the rate of breathing, do they have a pulse, all these other things. We're not doing that anymore. We're getting your address, your phone number, what the problem is, we start the help, and if they're not breathing, if you tell us he's not breathing, he's unconscious, maybe having a seizure, we don't know for sure, we're going to have you start compressions right away. And we're getting compressions now started on patients within 90 seconds, in some cases, in the best case scenarios. So, and that's a big difference in helping the child rate go way up. So that's all I got. Any questions before I walk off the stage? Good.
So now we're going to actually show you what the CPR looks like. I think we might ask this in the beginning. How many people have done CPR before on a real person? How many have learned hands-only CPR before? And then how many are CPR certified? Oh, good. Okay. So this will be a review for some and brand new for others, for most of you. So when you go outside here, there's a bunch of mannequins. You're going to actually physically do this yourself. So 4 easy steps. First step, if someone goes unconscious or unresponsive, you're going to check on them. They might be in bed, they might be on a chair. You just shake and shout. No response, you're going to activate 911. So if you have a cell phone, you put it on speaker. The dispatcher will walk you through some steps and ask you some questions. If you're in a crowd like this, you're going to point to one person, hey, you call 911. Make sure you make eye contact and make sure you point at them. Otherwise, if you just say, hey, someone call 911, this side's going to think this side's calling, and that side's going to think up there's calling, and no one calls 911. So make sure you point to one person. Now you're going to do compressions, so you're going to get the person on the floor. If they're on a bed or a chair or inside a car, get them outside, just drag them out. Don't worry about hurting them because they are dead at this time. Now you're going to kneel next to them, your knees touching their body. Your dominant hand, you're going to put the heel of your hand in the middle of the chest, between the nipple line. Other hand is going to go on top. You're going to interlock your fingers so they don't slide. You're going to lean over, squarely over the person. Arms are nice and straight. And you're going to push down with your body. Now we're going to play a song for you, Eye of the Tiger. You're going to go to that beat. So listen to the beat. Now as you see, we're not going super fast and we're not going slow. Nice, steady beat. And I believe when you call 911, they keep you on pace also, if you can hear the dispatcher. Now the fourth step is just to continue with compressions until we show up. Now what you're doing here is with every compression, it's like a heartbeat. You're sending blood that has oxygen in it to the brain. Thank you, gentlemen. So people ask why we don't do mouth-to-mouth anymore. Basically, when someone has a sudden cardiac arrest, you have oxygen in your body. Everyone here can hold their breath and not die because you have oxygen already in your blood. Now, when someone's heart stops, of course, that flow of oxygen in blood stops. So compressions keeps that going and gets the oxygen to the brain so the brain doesn't die, and the other organs. So that's why we don't do mouth-to-mouth. The scientific reason basically behind it. Also, people have germs, people don't want to do it. They're like, oh, I have to do mouth-to-mouth, I'm not going to do anything at all. But now you're okay with just doing compressions. You don't need to know how many, you just keep going until we show up. Don't stop. So now another part of the heart is electricity. Your heart runs on electricity. So we have an AED here we're going to show you. Who knows where the AEDs are on this campus? Yeah, you. Yeah. Do you know where they're at here? Okay. So you have a couple throughout the school. There's a nurse's office, health office. Library.
Okay, varsity football locker room.
So the sports are very important too, to know where that goes. Why most of them are there. So if once you're doing CPR, if there's someone else around, maybe the other person who calls 911, have them go find the AED and bring it back to you. It's going to look like this, similar to it. It's like a briefcase.
So once this is over,
you're going to open it up.
and start up another video for the CPR.
There's pads inside.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I was going to do that.
First, turn it on.
Connect electrode.
So the AED is going to walk you through everything. So just turn it on, and then she'll tell you what to do, which is connect the electrodes. So these things here, if you guys saw in the video, they put it on Ryan. This delivers electricity to the heart. So you just follow the pictures. I know it's hard to see. But you just put them on the patient, and then it sends electricity to the heart. Follow the steps. It'll tell you when to shock. It'll tell you when to do CPR. It'll tell you when to stop CPR. It'll tell you when to check a pulse and all that other stuff. So you don't have to worry that you're doing something wrong. Just listen to her or him, whatever the voice is, and they'll walk you through everything. So again, one person doing CPR, because that's the most important thing. A second person can grab the AED. If you don't know where it's at or there's none available, just continue with CPR and we'll take over once we show up.
Even in the hospital now, we don't ever stop compressions. If there's a cardiac arrest within the hospital, that's one thing we train now is so whoever gets their first start CPR, the bed actually has a CPR mode where it gets like it's a hardened surface underneath, or we put like them on a flat, hard surface. not on the floor. We can't do that in the hospital, but you can do that wherever else you are. The other thing I wanted to talk about, a couple weeks ago, we had a patient come in that was at a restaurant and it was choking. And people who choke, if they don't get air long enough, they will go into cardiac arrest. So it's a good thing that you recognize when somebody's choking. So I want to show you what we do for that. It is called the Heimlich maneuver. Who you can imagine who invented it. It's called Dr. Heimlich. So this is what we're going to show you how to do, and this works with all ages. And with the universal choking sign is like that, where somebody's going, or if they're eating, right? Or if they're a little child and playing with little things, you might assume that, they're choking.
So if you see somebody panicking and grabbing their throat, or evidence like they're eating or playing with a child playing with game pieces or eating little pieces of hot dog or Dorito chips and stuff, but they got that panic look in their face, you can ask them, are you choking? Now maybe the child isn't going to answer you, but the adult's going to give you that panic look and shake your head, yeah. What you want to do is reach around them with your hand, make a fist, put your thumb side in just above their belly button, reach around with the other hand, and you're going to pull real hard. Yes, voluntary right in here, okay? Pull real hard, like you're going to pop something out, okay? Don't go easy on them. You don't want to be gentle and say, oh, I don't want to hurt you. You really are trying to get something out of their throat to save their life. If after a couple of seconds, all of a sudden you're holding all of their weight, just lay them down on the ground.
We got you.
I won't do it to them. Anyway, so just lay them down and start the CPR do compression. But make sure you call 911 and get help on the way.
And the other thing that has happened in the past, good job, guys. Around the holiday times, families get together, and this has happened, and I have witnessed to this, that all of a sudden somebody feels like they're starting to choke. And I'll tell you what the worst things are: meat, chicken, turkey. It's like, for whatever reason, that's usually what's always in there when we're pulling it out at the hospital or the medics. And sometimes people are like, they can feel they're choking and they get embarrassed. Maybe they're at somebody else's house and they go into the bathroom. And then what happens is they can't get it out and they collapse. So be aware, be the person aware. If somebody goes to the bathroom and they don't come back, you might want to check on them. And this, I mean, I'm not trying to be silly, but these things do happen, so we always need to be aware of our surroundings so that we are there to help in time of need. So we have a very large group. So I'm truly going to need you guys to cooperate with us. We're going to need to have about 10 people to every mannequin out in the cafeteria. What I would like for you to do is go out there, try the CPR yourselves. Even if you've done it before, I want you to practice again. And then once you have done that, come back into the theater because we have something we want to do to close. Okay? So as organized as you can, 10 people per mannequin.